Call to order the Kenosha Common Council meeting for Monday, August 17th, 2026. Roll call, please. Okay, let the record reflect that quorum is present. I would ask everyone to please rise for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight, I would like to ask everyone to please keep in your thoughts and prayers the memory of Bishop Lawrence Kirby, who passed away this past Friday. I know he was a friend to many of you in this room and many around this community, and our thoughts and prayers are with the Kirby family as they deal with his loss. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of July 20th and August 3rd, 2026? Been moved and seconded. Any changes or corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
We have 21 citizens that have signed up to speak. Each will have 3 minutes. When your name is called, please proceed to the podium, state your name and address for the record. The first speaker is Mary Marcinkus.
Is the mic on?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Hello. I am here tonight because I'm opposed to moving forward with the construction of an AI data center.
Mary, can we get your name and address for the record, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. It is my understanding that it will be one of the largest in Wisconsin to date, with plans for a 1 million foot complex.
Sorry.
You still can't hear me.
No, I just need your name and address, and then we can get started.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Mary Marcinkus, 7641 50th Avenue.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Can I start now? Okay. Hello. I am opposed to moving forward with the construction of an AI data center in our county. It is my understanding that it is one of the largest in Wisconsin to date, and it has plans for a 1 million foot complex. I propose that we, the people, are allowed to vote on the data center, if possible, in November. I think that we as a state should enact a moratorium on any data center in Wisconsin, and especially here so close to home. We need to ensure that the effects to our climate, rising temperatures, pollution on our land and water, as well as noise pollution, are held to a minimum. There are too many unknowns to date. Any proposed fossil fuel plants need to be halted. We need to utilize only alternative, environmentally safe energy sources in the future. I have 2 grandchildren, one age 5, one 9 months, and I fear that they will inherit the devastating effects of our poor choices. They deserve our attention to detail so that their future environment is a livable one, because it is their environment. We need to stop, research, and take responsibility for our actions. We are not at the point where we know enough about using renewable energy in this situation. Remember, the CEOs of Microsoft do not have to live in this community after they wreak their havoc. I'm a lover of nature, and I was lucky to have spent the last 2 weeks in Wisconsin and Michigan reserves. On this vacation, I went to Pennine, Wisconsin. If you do not know where that is up north, way up north, and there's an island there surrounded by the Menominee River. And that island is protected by We Energy. We Energy has taken and protected the habitats of the plants and animals in that area. And I would ask We Energy that we can work together. If they can protect our habitats, then we can work with them. They need to take the responsibility to tell us exactly up front what they are going to do and what their role is in data centers.
Ma'am, you have 30 seconds.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Nick Prorock.
Nick Prorock, 8858 Sheridan Road. Thank you, Mayor and Alderpersons, for your attention this evening. I'd like to talk about some of the lessons that I've learned about innovation since I've been paying attention. What is innovation? Innovation is recognizing that in a city of 100,000 people, we need outside influence and outside investments for growth because there is no way that us commoners could have the solutions to our everyday problems. Innovation is Microsoft abandoning their climate goals and acknowledging that the profit stream from artificial intelligence is more valuable than a future planet that has sustainable ecosystems and that is not on fire. Innovation is establishing training programs for younger generations to learn how to work in industries which are unpopular and unwelcome in the community. Innovation is promising thousands of jobs to workers and laborers to build the infrastructure that will make our city worse and paying them very well to do it. Innovation is NDAs. It's recognizing early the projects that people are against and planning through secrecy ways to move those projects forward anyway. Innovation is creating new realities by saying there is no NDA. Innovation is deciding that we don't need land to grow food and understanding that harvesting data on people is more profitable. There is nothing flashy about feeding the hungry. Innovation is rejecting notions like the right to privacy and enforcing mass surveillance on everyone and getting that technology to be paid for with our taxes. Innovation is allowing outside investors to buy up Kenosha land and water and sell it back to the people who were here first. Innovation is building luxury apartment buildings and charging homeless people to sleep outside. Innovation is figuring out how to assess people's property at higher values so you can charge them a lower percentage of property tax but still charge them more money. Innovation is doing things more morally grounded people wouldn't consider doing as business practices, like polluting the air and water and tracking where people go 24 hours a day. Innovation is recognizing that you are right and we are wrong and abandoning your duties to represent the people to achieve your dreams and your goals and your vision for Kenosha is the best path forward. Thank you for making Kenosha the center of innovation in Southeast Wisconsin. I'd like to request you consider the possibility that the most innovative ideas will come from the people who live here, not from AI and not from trillion-dollar companies.
Nick, you have 30 seconds.
So I'd like to ask that you don't build this data center, pass a moratorium to make sure that our environment and our water is kept clean and safe. And thank you for your time.
Julie Christian Berry.
Hi, my name is Julie Christenbury. I live in Pleasant Prairie. However, the ill effects of the data center know no city, county, or other limits. I do, however, own an apartment building at 6703 35th Avenue in Kenosha. I'm concerned about the value of my property and the ability to find tenants once the dangers of the data center become real. My tenants are real people and they matter to me. I say with no shame that my 4 daughters and my 5 very young grandchildren are the people I worry most about. I don't have to recite the environmental and human concerns. This is the 3rd Common Council meeting I've been to, but the first I've spoken at, since public speaking does not come easily to me. I should have spoken up when the data center went up in Mount Pleasant, since we own an apartment building and we're seeing, but it seemed to go up overnight. These projects are being rushed through secretly, no public notices, no information and learning sessions, no town forums to educate people. You are elected to represent us, not big tech. Pause this debacle by initiating a moratorium, so that you can educate yourselves, please, and your constituents. Thank you.
Howard Gusk.
Howard Gussis, 5914 128th Avenue, Kenosha, actually town of Paris. We own Wolfman's Lodge right on the corner there. Obviously, I'm here against the data center, not against development. Uline, they're good neighbors. Amazon was a good neighbor. You know, they've landscaped the property. It looks good. I'm not against development in that area. I mean, we're talking my street. Our street's going now to 4 lanes from 2, rural road. That's starting next year. You know, a data center is not a fit for that area. I have everyone's talked about the pollution, the energy, water, we all know about that. My concern really is the constant noise. You're hearing out of Texas from all these people that live nearby, the constant drone. You're not far from Paris School, which is an award-winning school, and you have all the farm animals there. No one knows the impact on what it's going to do to milk production, beef production. I think that we need to hit the pause button on this. And, you know, everyone's not in my backyard. Everyone that's speaking here lives quite a distance away. We're only about a mile away, maybe 2 miles away from it. Far enough that I won't see it, but all my friends and neighbors, it's in their backyard. So, you know, I just want to express that I think this should be done by referendum. This should not be jammed down our throats. I think, you know, and see, I can pretty much guarantee you're not going to find anybody speaking in favor of this. But it is amazing that in Texas, it's become that they're putting a moratorium on these things. Thanks for your time.
Leslie Brown.
Leslie Brown, 5914 128th Avenue, Kenosha. I just want to go on record as saying I believe we need a moratorium on these AI data centers. They're being rushed through without allowing the proper information sessions and that for the citizens that are living near and are going to be affected by them. And what's the rush? We need to take our time and look into this. Again, progress, great, but this isn't the type of progress that we need. You're going to be threatening the health of citizens, future generations. A lot of us people out there were on wells, and it's just, and the gas turbine plants that they need to power these, that's a whole nother problem. So, and the plant that they want to power them, it will employ 8 full-time employees. My business, Wolfman's Lodge, employs 14 people. My small business is going to employ more than one of the power plants that they need to run these. So I just think that we need to slow things down. Let's do this wisely, or better yet, let's not. Let us have a chance at our own future and our own health. Thank you.
Jerry Moore.
Jerry Moore, 10918 69th Street. In my 5 last council speaks to you, The voices in opposition to data centers have been clear and unified. We've said no, we've asked for a moratorium, public announcements to the community, and group forums. Even though on issues like this, we really deserve a vote. Monday after Monday, we ask and speak into nothingness, while an industrial giant stands to disrupt, destroy, displace, change, replace homelands, environments, our health, and Wisconsin culture with ugly and demanding infrastructure. Drastic changes uprooting lives, habitats, and land parcels never intended for this scale of industrial development. 70% of Americans oppose data centers, and the lack of public notice or group forums is more than disheartening, adding to, I feel, intentional secrecy. How many of you have even driven by the Mount Pleasant Fairwater site or seen the nighttime glare? Recently, I drove to the proposed site, farmhouse windows painted black, as during non-disclosure days, something boarded up would have drawn attention and raised too many questions. To me, again, secrecy. Driving down UE, I saw the route a July 6th speaker said was the most beautiful of bike rides. I saw natural pollinator patches with bees, birdsong, and crickets. Experienced ecosystems that through city partnerships you're now trying to create here in the city, but destroying in Paris because of land decisions you made to annex, rezone, that uproot lives, lands, legacies. As citizens, we probably can forgive disagreement, we can forgive difficult decisions. What we don't forgive is feeling that our voices never mattered. Be transparent, Council. Represent constituents, not boardrooms. We need room for difficult questions, respectful disagreement, and information not heard or thought about. We need public servants who encourage participation and earn trust. Leave a legacy on Council as doing the correct thing. Right the wrongs and act as if you stood up and tried.
Ma'am, you have
Not
30
one
seconds.
of complicity and secrecy. I am proud and thankful of the younger friends behind me who care about what happens beyond their lifetime. Maybe that is what legacy is all about, what we cared enough to keep intact. Thank you.
Amy Mayer.
Hello, I'm Amy Mayer. I live at 614 15th Place in Kenosha, and I have a few statistics that I think are very important to consider. One large data center will use between 30 to 150 million gallons in 1 month. A medium one uses between 9 and 15 million gallons a month. And what we're finding is that once the cooling process is done, some of that water is turned to steam. However, some of it is going into our municipal systems. Now, we know what's going on in Indiana. Right now, Indiana has between 72 and 125 data centers. So think of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Indiana. We're all around Lake Michigan. And the number of these data centers and the amount of water that's being consumed on a monthly basis. A citizen in Indiana had stated she has never seen anything like this in 45 years. So yes, there is rain, but perhaps the sewer systems are overloaded. Not just that, this heavy electrical usage, if the system is overloaded, something that has not yet been explored, for long term, people won't be able to access hot water, their cooking, their refrigeration. So this is why it's imperative that as a community and as a country, we really need to examine and think very carefully about everything that is going on. It's very serious. So, the tech players want to run fast and furious, run with the ball, of course, because they're going to be gaining from that financially. So we really need to put this into perspective and make an educated decision. Thank you.
Jackie Sem.
Hello, Jacqueline Sem, 5502 63rd Street. I'm standing before you tonight to ask the council to enact a moratorium on the proposed AI data center in Kenosha. There are 4 points of concern that I would like to raise. First, this industrial warehouse is not an innovation hub. We are being sold a story about tech innovation, but let's be honest. Handing over Kenosha land for massive 1 million square foot industrial warehouse complex does not sound like innovation, nor does it benefit our community. Second, the job numbers are vague. Official minutes from the November 2024 Plan Commission meeting showed that the developer's representative stated that each building would employ 10 to 20 workers. Now public statements claim around 50 per building, with employees and vendors occupying each building. Throwing temporary contractors, third-party vendors, maintenance, security, and technical employees into a single baseline number hides the number of permanent, high-paying local jobs. We were told $80,000 to $100,000 per year, but let's be clear, that's only for people with graduate degrees, and we don't know what that actual figure is. Is it 4 people? Is it 8 people? We don't know. There's a lot of temporary benefit while the buildings are being constructed, but I want you to consider the long-term impacts. Third, when asked about the water source for the site, the official FAQ gives a single vague sentence, quote, "The source for this site would be from the Kenosha Water Utility," end quote. That complete lack of detail ignores where the water actually comes from, our beautiful gem, Lake Michigan. It hides the massive systemic water footprint required by the power plants to generate the electricity that this facility will require every day. We're being told it's 4,500 gallons per day, but that's not actually true because the energy source, they also require water. So that number's not included in this 4,500 gallons per day figure. So that needs to be stated plainly and transparently to the people. Fourth, there are documented noise issues at the existing facilities in Wisconsin. In Port Washington, residents have filed a class action lawsuit against the local facility regarding sound levels. As recently as July 20th, 2026,
Jackie, you have 30 seconds.
Thank you. Microsoft confirmed that engineering teams are continuing to evaluate and mitigate the noise at that site. We do not want Kenosha to become another caution story for Wisconsin. Kenosha County should not be Microsoft's guinea pig. I urge this council to listen to the people who live here, protect our resources, and pass a moratorium to shut this project down. Thank you.
Dorothy Nolan.
Hello, my name is Dorothy Nolan. I live at 802 21st Avenue in Kenosha. My comments today are regarding the proposed data center. I last spoke to this council about my concerns on air quality. Because I feel strongly about the data center extraction of our resources like land and water, I've been looking closely at the headline warning signs around the country on this topic. Here are my recent top 10. Number 1, Governor Abbott of Texas has halted data center approvals. He has directed the state's regulators to complete a comprehensive audit before projects can move forward. 2, the illusion of waterless AI, how closed-loop data centers shift the freshwater burden to power plants. 3, experts say we don't need more data centers to build better AI. 4, Lake County residents file lawsuit to block 472-acre data center campus in Grays Lake, Illinois. 5, AI's impact on the environment is absolutely horrifying. 6, OpenAI says its AI went rogue and launched an unprecedented cyber attack. 7, We Energies is already proposing a 14% rate increase over the next 2 years. 8, inside this secretive deal for a $10 billion data center in rural North Carolina. 9, The left and right agree on one thing: no data centers. 10, a massive amount of data center power abruptly disconnected from the largest U.S. electric grid in July 2026, causing a voltage disturbance that could be felt from D.C. to Chicago down to Miami. There's a common thread that continues to surface when you look at the headlines, and that's one of lack of trust and a technology that's out of control. Collectively, the public trust has been eroded given the secrecy and silence around these data centers. My concern is that the city of Kenosha may not be looking at the resource extraction around the country. We do not have limitless resources. We have no regulations or plan for massive job losses. The projected pollution is a major health hazard, and our electric grid is not ready to handle the load. You have an obligation as a governing body to act on our behalf and not the tech companies.
Ma'am, you have 30 seconds.
Look around the country. This is not just an issue in Kenosha. The warning signs are everywhere. We need a pause on this to make sure the proper guardrails are in place. Thanks.
Greg Kessin.
Greg Cresson, 802 21st Avenue, Kenosha. I say no to the data center, and I also say no to the gas plants. My comments today are about the details of the power issue that occurred on July 22nd because of the data center in Virginia. Just before 8 a.m. on July 22nd, electricity flickered on and off for about 10 minutes. An engineer's data says it happened throughout the eastern half of the United States, from Chicago to Boston to Miami. He ties the problem to a data center alley in Ashburn, Virginia, and says that seamlessly small blip is a sign that our infrastructure is in danger. Experts say cracks in our infrastructure grid are starting to show as the data center industry consumes electricity at a rate this world has never seen or experienced before. The data centers are such a big load on the grid that they have detrimental impact on the surrounding grid, said Bob Marshall with Ting Labs. The company sells a device to plug into the wall to monitor your home's electricity and alert you if something's awry to try to prevent an electrical fire. With millions of these devices in your homes across the U.S., Marshall's data collected shows something he flagged as a concern at 7:56 a.m. Electricity throughout the eastern half of the U.S. dropped, spike, and leveled off. Marshall said it happened a few more times over the next 10 minutes. This one event, serving either one building or whatever the data center complex is, impacted the entire region. And this is what experts are worried about. News 4 reached out to Dominion Energy about the power grid glitch. The power company said a piece of equipment on one of the high-end voltage transmission lines that serves data centers failed, knocking it out of service. As a result, the data center system switched to backup power. Dominion Energy did not disconnect area data centers from the grid. The data center's own systems transferred from the backup power for a very short period of time. Ting Labs provided News 4 with a graphic showing the scale of the service disruption. The company said orange is really bad and red is worse. Those colors were more, the colors covered more than half the U.S. Wisconsin is completely covered in orange. People working on regulations around this, they're concerned on these events in the future could cause the grid to become unstable. And if that does happen back in a few more minutes, over 10, we'd be dealing with a real problem and the possibility of a blackout. And our hospitals and schools and everyone that is sick, we need the power for humans.
Next speaker, Arabella Kessler.
Arabella Kessler, 3327 47th Avenue, Kenosha, Wisconsin. Today I'm here to focus on a demand for a moratorium. All over the state, moratoriums are being passed to protect our residents' lands and lakes. Greene County, Manitowoc County, Dane County, Dodge County, and the cities/townships of Superior, Madison, Waterloo, just to name a few, of all already passed moratoriums, with dozens of other places having them or outright bans proposed. The village of Wrightstown had a referendum on their primary ballot this past week asking the people their opinion on data center development. The answer was an overwhelming no, we don't want them here, with 87% of residents voting against development. Additionally, the small town of Caseville, Wisconsin had a proposed $1 billion data center, and despite a potential $5.5 million annually in property tax revenue, they unanimously struck it down 44-0, going as far as to enact an outright ban on data centers in their town. Clearly, other counties, cities, and townships see the dangers and concerns that residents have brought up and are willing to listen to their constituents. Why won't Kenosha? Why are we rushing, if not purely for political and financial incentives, to build something when we know so little about how it may affect Kenosha and the lake as a whole? You can say you know the potential effects, but have you listened to any scientists outside of the ones on Microsoft's payroll? Maybe it's because Microsoft has offered grants to our already underfunded public institutions, which we have accepted. Microsoft has been laying its seeds here for years, quite literally by partnering with us last year to create pollinator patches, lulling us into a quiet sense of security before they leave us high and dry. Look across the country. This is what these corporations do. Another point I'd like to mention today is my strong suggestion to host a public town hall where you can clearly hear the voices of the folks you represent. The mayor was comfortable running town halls as an alderperson for his district. What changed? To only speak to residents individually shows a lack of confidence in the city's ability to defend their position on the benefits of hyperscale data centers and an awareness that a majority of the city is not in favor. You are only breeding division. What are you so afraid of? Does it annoy you to sit and listen to me, to participate in the role you chose and were elected to do? I strongly encourage each alderperson to independently research this issue and talk to the folks they represent. Whether you want to believe in the facts presented to you or not, there are many reasons to support a moratorium. These technocrat billionaires and hyperscale data centers are rapidly changing the political and physical landscape of our country. What's the risk of erring on the side of caution? Once we sign the contracts, once we agree to these companies' demands, we lose all leverage. You cannot seriously expect me to believe, do you even believe, that we can check and balance Microsoft, the same Microsoft that currently has an open lawsuit against them for failing to follow through with their promises in Mount Pleasant? Which, by the way, despite this and their commitment to being a good neighbor, in the next few years, they plan on tripling the amount of energy they're using now. If you look
You have
across
30 seconds.
the country, there are countless lawsuits popping up against other data centers for similar issues. In terms of fighting back against these companies, let's look at the township of Saline, Michigan. There was a proposed $16 billion data center, which residents helped prevent. However, 2 days later, the developers and landowners sued the township and contractually bullied them into backing down. The data center will be allowed to move forward with construction entirely against the town's wishes. This is just one example, but if you'd like, I can come back with more. These are corporations that have the ability to overrule local governments, and we need to be talking about it, and we need to be angry about it. I know I am, which is exactly why Kenosha needs to pass a moratorium now. You all still have a
Your
chance
time
to
is
show
up.
me. Thank you.
Next speaker, Scott Alberts.
Let her speak. Let her speak.
Let her speak. She's almost done. Next speaker, please.
Let her speak. Don't be a coward again. Let her speak.
Folks, come on.
Let her
We're
speak.
being respectful.
Dirty business behind closed doors.
We're being
against
respectful
open-
here. I'm just
open-
asking,
Let her
please.
speak. Open meeting law violations.
Ma'am, thank
Don't be
you.
mean.
Next speaker, please.
Let her speak.
Thank you.
Let her speak. Let her speak.
Sir.
Let her speak.
Sir,
Let her speak.
sir,
Let
you're going to
her
be
speak.
escorted out.
Let her
You're going to be
speak.
escorted out.
Let her speak. Let her
Sir,
speak.
you're going to be,
Anybody
sir,
else here want to hear what she has to say?
Yes.
Then let her speak.
Let's file a recall.
Let
this is
her speak.
sir, I'm going to ask you one more time, please. We're being respectful by listening. This is a meeting. We have rules that we have to follow. I'm asking you nicely, sir. Otherwise, I'm going to ask you to leave.
This ain't happening.
Let her speak. Let's go. Let her speak.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
So that's how you
Please continue.
somebody want to give up their time? Recall.
Sir, we just need your name and address for the record, please. Thank you.
My name is Scott Alberts, 7822 30th Avenue. Progress has to be positive and profitable. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and ladies and gentlemen of the Common Council. Thank you, Mayor, for meeting with me several weeks ago to have a discussion about the hyperscale AI data center. I appreciate the amount of details that was taken to ensure this proposed data center would operate in a way that would protect all aspects and concerns being expressed by the citizens, neighbors, and friends of Kenosha. I still do not want a hyperscale AI data center. However, I am asking for a moratorium. A moratorium is a temporary stop or pause on a specific activity, rule, or legal duty. Governments, courts, or businesses use a moratorium to delay actions such as paying debts, building new houses, or catching certain fish until a problem is fixed or a situation is studied. I ask you, Mr. Mayor, and ladies and gentlemen of this common council, for said moratorium so we can study the hyperscale AI data centers that are already functioning. I believe these are functioning and are only theories behind the operations of the hyperscale AI data centers. A moratorium will allow studies to be conducted in order to fully evaluate the operations of said data centers. Last Tuesday, I exercised my civil duty to vote my conscience. Today, I stand here with my fellow citizens of Kenosha, my neighbors, all of your neighbors, to exercise yet another civil duty, and that is to stand here and vocalize my opposition to the hyperscale AI data center. I would like the opportunity to vote on this proposal and hope the option will be available as a referendum. As for today, I stand here and ask as a citizen of Kenosha for a moratorium. Thank you.
Colton Roberts.
Hello, my name is Colton Roberts. I live at 4710 18th Ave, Kenosha, Wisconsin. It'll be the second week I say it. Coward. Pure cowardice is being shown from our administration. Not only to the disrespect to the people, not only to the blatant violation of the spirit of our First Amendment rights, but due to the fact that half of y'all are over the age of 60 and will not live to see the effects of this data center. When my daughter turns 21 and can legally drink, what if she has asthma due to the shit y'all done? What happens if when I'm going to retire, I can't because I'm on a deathbed because you imbecilic freakwads, I don't know, do nothing but push for carcinogenic buildings to be built in our societies? What happens when there's no one left to sue because y'all are dead? What are we going to do? We can't tear down the building once it's built. Say it again, cowardice is being shown from this administration. I'm looking you in the eye, Mr. Mayor. You tomato-headed freak. No, why should I show respect to the people who are not respecting me? I have one representative of the city council, Mr. Kelly McKay. He has shown me far more respect, compassion, understanding, and kindness than that man sitting up there. Just because you don't like what someone has to say, you still got to listen to it. I listened to every single word you said when you invited me to speak to you one-on-one, and I gave it thought, and I disagreed with you. But I didn't call for the damn cops to bring me out to bring you out because I didn't like what you had to say. Shame. Nothing but shame. I wish I had more to say, but my heart is racing. I can barely think other than calling you fox.
Next speaker, Leanne Carpenter. Leanne, last name starts with a C. Leanne on 43rd Avenue.
My writing was a little sloppy. Carpenter. Leanne Carpenter, 1585 43rd Avenue. I want to speak about the non-disclosure agreement, which is probably why people are very pissed off. I actually looked up the definition because I wasn't sure of all the specifics of what an NDA was. And I found an NDA is a legally binding contract in which one or more parties agree not to disclose specific confidential information to others. So we're the others, the citizens of Kenosha. It protects trade secrets, business strategies, proprietary technology, and other sensitive data by creating a confidential relationship between the two parties. So a confidential relationship with trust between you guys and Microsoft, not between you guys and the others, which is the way it's supposed to be. When you tell us, the others, to trust you, the data center will bring jobs, financial incentives for the community, and there won't be any negative impacts because Microsoft gave you guys a sales pitch and you trust them, you believe them, while at the same time, you're keeping the terms, the negotiations, the future predictions a secret behind an NDA. You are lying by omission to all the others. You're breaking trust in a big, big, big way. By agreeing to the NDA, you are telling Microsoft that the citizens of Kenosha are a nuisance, a stumbling block, a hurdle to be overcome, something to be dealt with after the fact. Put it up and we'll deal with them later. And whether or not anybody in this room actually has those thoughts or had those thoughts in the beginning, it doesn't matter because Microsoft does have those thoughts. They are a large company, a successful company. That's how they got where they are. They don't worry about the aftermath, which is us. They worry about their bottom line. That's why you guys are here to protect us, to advocate for us. Microsoft or any other big company that comes in here wanting our stuff for whatever reason should be considered guilty or not safe until they prove themselves to be otherwise. In this case, jobs and cash incentives were used as bribes for your silence.
You have 30 seconds.
A project of this magnitude, if it's truly in the best interest of the community, should not require secrecy, period. Please do the right thing. Listen to us. We need a moratorium, if not a full stop to the building of this data center or any other data center proposal from any other company. Anybody else who wants to come in here and use our stuff. Thank you for your time.
Ed Ruka.
Hello, my name is Ed Ruka, 7727 Fifth Avenue. I'm standing here tonight, not a policy expert, just a resident deeply concerned about the data center, what it means for our homes, our kids, and our wallets. When the big tech companies come to town, they talk about job creation, tax revenues. But when you look at the past pitch, doctors, scientists, environmental health researchers are flagging serious health and financial risks that hit us right at the neighborhood level. Here's what real-world data shows from an independent study from Dr. Michael Cork, who has a PhD from Harvard. Dr. Cork has been studying data centers for over 15 years. First, the air we breathe. These facilities bring massive banks of diesel backup generators and sometimes even power their own plants right on site. After recent study models, national data centers growth shows that air pollution from these sites cause over 1,000 premature deaths and will cost our healthcare system $20 billion every single year by the year 2030. Other studies have found just one large data center running on-site power can cause up to $90 million a year in local health damages. Mostly our kids ending up in the ER with asthma attacks, our seniors facing heart issues, and I know that many of you have children and grandchildren that you would not want to harm. And as some of you may be seniors, like me, or have parents that are seniors, I'm sure you don't want to cut their lives short. Or maybe some might want to get rid of their parents a little early in life. Yes, I've heard the arguments of Uline and Amazon and other companies that would have diesel trucks running and spew the same exhaust that these generators would. But we have to remember one thing. Each truck employs somebody. A diesel generator doesn't employ anybody.
Sir, you have 30 seconds.
All right. Second, noise, the nonstop noise from data centers has huge cooling fans, 24/7, 365, of a low frequency, and the study of noise pollution shows that living near a constant hum leaves people sleepless, raises stress hormones, and spikes blood pressure. Imagine not being outside the whole time in your backyard when these are here.
Sir, your time is up.
Okay, thank you very much.
Next speaker, Gary Comack. Gary on 37th Street. Last call for Gary. Next speaker, Naim Rahman.
Neve Rahman, 6837 155th Avenue. To be honest, there's no place I'd rather be less tonight on this beautiful summer evening, especially given all the rain we've had recently. Yet I find my evenings, weekends, and even breaks during the workday being taken up by a massive amount of volunteer hours fighting this data center. I and a slew of other folks that's growing and growing are working overtime, balancing full-time jobs, childcare, family obligations, summer events, wedding planning, side hustles, summer school, vacations, sick parents, aging pets, losses. The list goes on and on. Yet we continue to show up to these meetings as futile as they feel. We continue to put hours and hours into video editing, graphic design, content strategy, yard sign distribution, event planning, contacting speakers, rallying residents, door knocking. I could talk your ear off on how much we've done and are still doing. Just know we're coming for your jobs. I'm seriously impressed at the amount of courage, intelligence, sharp-minded and witted, strategic, quick acting, hardworking, et cetera, folks I've come to know through this activism. People of all ages, races, genders, political ideologies. It's honestly refreshing. And I know Kenosha will be in good hands for the next generation. But what I fear is that we'll have so much cleaning up we'll need to do. Cleaning up and paying financially, but also physically and mentally for the self-indulgent, greedy, ignorant, irresponsible, choices made by our current elected officials, who, may I remind, since it seems like they need reminding every 2 weeks, work for us, the residents of the city that they govern. So I could rant and rave up here all day, as I have before and as everyone else has, and in private phone calls with my aldermen and other aldermen. But let me ask you these questions. What will your reaction be if and when our drinking water turns brown? Can you sleep with yourself at night, knowing you're endangering the constituents of your districts? Why do you simply refuse to provide any level of dialogue that's not in a private, one-on-one conversation? Did you see how viral the video went the last 2 weeks when Montana was escorted out by the cops? Yeah, that went viral and had about 60,000 views, over 2,000 likes, and hundreds of comments. And quite frankly, the vast majority was praise for her speaking out. We acknowledged she went over her 3-minute time, but everybody was in favor and wanted to hear what she had to say.
You have 30 seconds.
Will you have any regret if you're not elected back into office? Since I won't get answers to those questions tonight anyways, I'll just say, like many others have before, if you're not listening and you're not paying attention, a wave is rising higher and higher, and we're taking you all down with it.
Next speaker, Daniel Laska.
Hi guys, how y'all doing? A little first, if that's okay. I'm going to be talking visuals, so I think that point is
guesses yet? Okay, cool. My name's Dan Laska. We've all met before. 2403 136th Ave. As I said before, I share a property line with Microsoft, and tonight I'm talking because this is very personal for us. How personal? What I just put up is the actual distance from the wall of my house to Microsoft property. I'm R2. That to that is the distance to heavy industrial. You guys did that November 21st, 2024. And for all those, you can see the video of them voting on it on the Kenosha website. You can dig for it. So that's why it's personal. I'm trying to protect my family. I'm a father. You're fathers. How would you feel? This is about the size of a patio, right? It's 10 feet, 4 inches. If you're curious how far that is. It's 10 feet, 4 inches to the wall of my house to heavy industrial. November 21st, 2024. Y'all seem kind of pretty happy in the room. You almost wanted to give high fives, a lot of gaveling going on, pretty proud. That moment changed this. Thought I had a house that was safe, one I could raise my family in, raise my children in. Instead, I'm up here, and I've added the minutes, because you get 3 minutes, and then we're getting 5 minutes, and I applaud everybody here for showing up. This was an amazing turnout. Good for you guys. I've had 18 minutes in front of you over the past 6 or 7 sessions to talk, and I've tried to come up with an angle every time, a different one. And this was my latest. But I'm up here as a father trying to protect his family, his children, as a representative that loves his community of Paris. He's trying to protect my community. I'm trying to protect my land value. I have a lot of equity in that. In a weird way, I'm trying to protect your community. How ironic is that when your guys coming to us? How many of you have visited? I live 800 feet from the actual intersection of 142 and 36. You been out there? Seen it? Did you look at it before you voted on it? Would you buy a car before you looked at it? Would you buy a house before you looked at it?
Sir, you have 30 seconds.
This is very personal to me, and I'm not going to stop. You came to my doorstep. You came 10 feet, 4 inches from my doorstep. We're serious, people. We're very serious, and we're getting very organized. Sometimes, if you win, you can really lose. Thank you.
Next speaker, Jared Hunt. Jared Hunt. Last call for Jared Hunt. Next, 5921 6th Avenue. Next speaker, Samuel Irving.
I'm going to bring it down here. Don't start my timer just yet. Crippled, come on. Samuel Irving, 8829 17th Avenue. I'm a big movie fan, and arts has always been a passion of mine. I worked in it for a long time. I worked as an engineer, doing concerts and events, so I've been around, I know tech. Anyway, I digress. We can learn a lot from these films that we watch. They often show us ideas and themes that give us insight on the world around us, from love and loss and working through that, and technology, and the dangers of not fully understanding its reach. In Minority Report, starring Tom Cruise, everybody's favorite, 2002, people live in a world where they're always being watched and crime is reported before it can even happen. It's far-fetched, it's dramatic, it makes the movie good. But a lot of this is coming real today. The clairvoyance of the tech, obviously,
is, not real, and the dramatic fight scenes just make the movie exciting, but makes a good film. The theme and the background of the film remains. It warns of the dangers of surveillance and the invasion of privacy, with the idea that anybody can be a potential threat. Even you, especially you, every one of you, especially as people who work in government. Where am I going with this? Well, look at the tech they use. Facial recognition, data tracking, phone tracking, cameras everywhere. Does that sound familiar? Should. You carry everything with that in your pocket. Your entire life, recorded, watched, building a case against you whether you like it or not. What supports this? How do you manage this much data? Data centers. It's easy. But we've had data centers since, 70s, 80s, to manage the internet and work it? The tech only grows from here. AI has made leaps in only months. You cannot imagine where it will be in a year, 5 years, or 10 years from now. In 2002, they guessed so much of the surveillance tech. Even earlier than that, in movies that, can't think of it off the top of my head, but I'll go on.
You have 30 seconds.
Thank you. These hyperscale data centers, whether you agree with it or not, will be supporting the mass surveillance state. Flock cameras are a huge part of that. And you know exactly where this is going. Tracking every single license plate in and out of the state, where you're going, to every doctor appointment, to every store, everything. And your legacy supports it. Every line crossed that you allow with these data centers that big tech is partnering with governments to do will be your legacy. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you. Please continue.
B, communications, petitions, reports of departments. B1, approval of the following applications. A, 16 operators licenses. B, 3 special class B beer and or special class B wine licenses.
Gentleman from the 10th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I make a motion to concur to recommendation on license permit to approve B1.
On your laptop, sir?
I thought I hit it.
Moved and second to approve item B1. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
B2, conditional use permit for a tattoo establishment located at 4400 Sheridan Road.
Gentleman from the 3rd.
Thank you. Move to approve B2 in concurrence with the City Plan Commission.
It's been moved and seconded to concur on item B2. At this time, open up to a public hearing. Anyone here speaking item B2, please come forward, state your name and address.
Mitch Braver, 1802 28th Street, Kenosha, Wisconsin. Yeah, what am I doing? Sorry about that. I'm here for any questions. Yep.
Okay. If there are any questions from the council, we'll call you back up.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else here to speak on item B2? Anyone else? Anyone else? Seeing none, close the public hearing. Motion on the floor is concurrence on item B2. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
B3, conditional use permit amendment for a tattoo and body piercing establishment located at 7611 Pershing Boulevard.
Gentleman from the 16th? Did you make a motion to approve?
Yes, I
sir?
did.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve item B3. At this time, open up to a public hearing. Anyone here speaking item B3, please come forward, state your name and address.
My name is Ben Rader, 4925 68th Street. Basically, my wife and I, we've owned this property, 7611 Pershing Boulevard, for Jamie Waldron operates her Gypsy Gem Grills. I'm here to today discuss the recommendation that was made for removing a portion of the parking lot and planter boxes and install some planter boxes. I attended Planning Commission, or actually Common Council, both times with her, and we had spoken to a representative, and we were told it was a recommendation. They had advised us that we don't bring it up unless we needed to. Based on that guidance, we didn't step forward with anything. When it came to Jamie getting her occupancy approval, however, we were informed that she could not open her business unless the escrow amount and additional $500 temporary occupancy was paid. So we helped comply with that. If we had been presented with this as a requirement instead of a recommendation, we would have addressed these immediately. So I apologize on that piece of it. Since purchasing the property, we have made significant improvements to enhance both the appearance and functionality. The building has been painted, new shutters installed, decorative window planters, and the parking lot's been recoated. We have also made other improvements to comply with city requirements, including lowering the sign, turning it away from being over the sidewalks. We've invested considerable amount of time and money in improving the property, and we believe those efforts demonstrate our commitment to maintaining an attractive, well-kept business. We are respectfully requesting that an acceptance that would allow us to leave the parking lot as it is. The parking lot already has very limited and extremely tight maneuvering spaces. Removing pavement to install planter boxes and landscaping features would create several concerns. First, it would present a safety issue. Raised planters or similar permanent structures would create a tripping hazard when customers step out of the vehicles. Second, because of the tight parking configuration, any planters or landscaping features would likely be struck by a vehicle on a regular basis, causing continual damage and maintenance issues. While we understand the city's goal is to improve the appearance of the property, we believe we've already accomplished this objective through an extensive exterior improvements that we have made. Third, as shown in the photographs, I did bring some if anybody wanted them or wanted to pass them out. Thank you. The photograph shows vehicles already require multiple back and forth movements just to exit the parking space. Adding a permanent obstruction would significantly reduce the maneuverability and could make some parking spaces impracticable or unusable for customers. Finally, snow removal would become extremely difficult. Because of the limited space, plowing the parking lot is already a challenge. Installing permanent landscaping within the parking area would create additional obstacles and increase the likelihood of property damage during winter maintenance. In closing, I respectfully ask the Commission to consider these facts when making the decision. We request that our request is reasonably given the limited parking lot size, the existing maneuverability constraints, the substantial improvements we have already made to the property, and the fact that we relied on understanding that it was a recommendation versus a mandatory requirement. Thank you, and if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else on item B3 from the public? Anyone else? Anyone else? Seeing none, close the public hearing. Mr. Casey?
Yes, sir.
If I'm not mistaken, that condition was removed at City Plan Commission, correct?
I was not at that meeting, Mayor, but in looking at the report, yes.
Okay.
Condition due to the conditions approval require the removal of the asphalt in the striped area around the existing sign and replacing it with mulch or stone. And the recommendation was to remove that condition.
Right. So I guess for the applicant and for council, at City Plan Commission agreed with the owner or the applicant here to remove that. And I would ask the council to, I would assume that the Alderman of the 16th understood that he was there and actually voted for that, but I'm assuming that was part of meant to be for your motion. So that condition that this gentleman was asking for relief was already granted via City Plan Commission. Now, we do need this body to uphold that, and I would ask this council to do that because that is what we did at City Plan Commission and agreed with the applicant.
Correct.
All right. Thank you, sir. Gentleman from the third.
Thank you, Rodner. I was going to make some of the same points you just did. Basically, by approving this, are approving what this gentleman also requested because the condition that he objected to was removed at the City Plan Commission meeting. The reasons were pretty obvious. He did a lot of work there. And at the same time, as Your Honor has pointed out, although that we try to make things, when we have new developments, et cetera, we try to keep everything to a certain standard, it would not have been fair in this situation. A lot of older places have parking lots, and this parking lot would have been really hazardous if they totally complied with this, with the conditions that were proposed. Thus, the City Plan Commission agreed to remove those conditions, and thus, when you vote for B3, and if you vote in the affirmative, you are voting to basically give this gentleman what he wants as well, relief from that condition. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Lady from the 8th.
Yeah, I'll make this just short and sweet. As alderperson of the district, I thank the City Plan Commission for voting for this, and I'm in full support.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else on item B3? If not, motion on the floor is approval of item B3 as recommended by City Plan Commission, correct? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
C, recommendations from the Committee on Licenses and Permits. C1, application of Michaela Wire for a new operator's license.
Gentleman from the 10th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I make a motion to concur with the recommendation of license permit.
Any additional ones, Mr. Chairman?
Not yet, sir.
All right.
Soon.
Okay, at this time, open up to a hearing. Anyone here to speak on item C1, please come forward, state your name and address. Anyone here to speak? Anyone here to speak? Seeing none, close the hearing. Motion on the floor is concurrent with license permit. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
C2, application of Brandon Perdomo for a new operator's license.
Gentleman from the 10th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I make a motion to deny based on material police records substantially related to the license.
Moved and seconded to, would that be to concur with license permit recommendation, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, at this time, open up to a hearing. Anyone here speaking item C2, please come forward, state your name and address. Oh, one second, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. My name is Francis Flex, 2831 14th Lane, Kenosha. I am Brandon's mom. Sorry, he just went to the bathroom. I would like to speak for him, if I can.
Sure.
Sure. Nobody knows better than me the struggles, the bad decisions, choices he made, but nobody knows better than me the progress and how proud I am right now to see the better decisions and the improvement. I'm talking about you. I just don't want to let this pass. So I am very, very confident that he deserves to get the license so he can keep working and something he's good at it.
Thank you, ma'am. Brandon, can we get your name and address for the record?
Yeah,
please?
Brandon Perdomo, 2831 14th Lane, Kenosha, Wisconsin. I want to start by saying I wasn't here last Monday when I was supposed to be because I was at work. I got out late, so I didn't really get to speak or anything. So I'll start by just kind of saying I know at a glance, looking at it, looks kind of bad, looks pretty bad. I'm aware of that. I'm aware of the mistakes I've made. And it's not any excuses or anything, but at least some context to kind of what happened. When I was 21, my girlfriend passed away, and I got very, very depressed and lots of issues with addiction and lots of other things. And it took a long time. I didn't want to get better, honestly. And if you look at the record, that's from 2022 to 24 was when everything happened. And that was during the time where I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to be alive. And, I started working as I've worked in restaurants my whole life. I started working as a bartender, supervised, and kind of helped me get sober. And I have a lot of supporting documents here from my clinic where I've been sober for almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in December. I even have the diagnosis from my therapist and my psychiatrist stating that it was mostly a situational kind of problem that was going on due to what had happened. And I even have discharge papers showing like my risk level and everything at the time I got discharged. And that was 2 years ago. That was in December 2024. Since then I've been working. I have my associate's degree in audio science and engineering. And it's hard because every time you try to move forward, you're reminded of the mistakes you made. It's hard because it's like a wall. Every single time, every turn I take to the left or to the right to try to go forward, something's trying to stop me. At least that's what it feels like. And I know those are my own mistakes, but it's hard when you're trying to do better and trying to do the thing you like, because it's been really hard to find something I like. And I feel like I am good at it. I even have letters of recommendations in here. I don't know if anyone wants to look at all this. But yeah, I don't really have too much else to say besides that, I guess, other than thank you guys for your time, consideration, and I understand either way.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else on item C2? Anyone else? Anyone else? If not, close the hearing. Gentleman from the 16th, or? That's fine. Okay.
Yes, I'm vice chair of that committee. The applicant came in after the vote was taken. He had to work. It wasn't his fault, but we had voted on it already to deny. Granted, there's 400 points, but every applicant deserves a right to a hearing. So I'd like this to be deferred, put back into the committee, so he could.
Motion to send back to committee, is that what
I'll
I'm
make a
hearing?
motion to send back to committee, yes.
It's been moved and seconded to send this back to license and permit. On that motion to send back to committee, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. This will be at the following license and permit meeting.
C3, application of Nakia Brookshire for a yearly peddler stand located at 2820 14th Avenue with no adverse recommendations from the police department.
Gentleman from the 10th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I make a motion to approve C3, C4, C5, C6 after being read in any necessary applicant hearings. Through C5.
C4, application of Auto Express Services, AES Auto and Towing LLC for a new towing service license located at 6400 32nd Avenue with an adverse recommendation from the police department. C5, applications for a temporary outdoor extension of the Class B beer, Class B liquor license with no adverse recommendations from the police department. A. Bendelli's Adventure, Inc., located at 4601 7th Avenue on September 18th through 19th, 2026. B. Bottoms Up Ventures, Inc., located at 1402 52nd Street on August 21st through 23rd, 2026. C. Kenosha Creative Space, Inc., located at 624 57th Street on August 21st through 23rd, 2026, with a waiver request of 10.075 D3 by the Common Council under 10.075I.
Okay, at this time, open up to a hearing. Anyone here to speak on items C3, 4, or 5, please come forward, state your name and address. Anyone here to speak? Anyone here to speak?
Hello, Brian Johnson for C4, 2832 14th Lane. I'm the owner of AES Towing. I'm here for any questions.
Okay, if there are any questions,
If
we'll
there's
call
any
you back up.
questions. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else on C3, 4, and 5? Anyone else? Anyone else? Seeing none, close the hearing. Motion on the floor is concurrence. Is that correct, Mr. Chair? Yes. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
C6, application of Salon Diamante LLC for a new Class B beer, reserve Class B liquor license located at 6712 30th Avenue. Upon surrender of a Class B beer, Class C liquor license from Salon Diamante LLC, with no adverse recommendations from the police department.
Gentleman from the 10th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I make a motion to approve, and in that motion is the waiving of the main entrance. 300-foot waiver.
Okay, at this time, open up to a hearing. Anyone here speaking item C6, please come forward, state your name and address.
Alba Rodriguez. My address is 1721 50th Street in Kenosha.
The floor is yours, ma'am, if anything you'd like to say to the council on this item.
Well, I'm applying for the liquor because the parties of weddings and baby showers, sometimes they wanna drink, and that's why since they changed the rules of the halls, so I don't know.
Well, I got a feeling there's going to be some questions from the council, so if you want to have a seat, if you don't have anything else to say, there may be some questions from council.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else on item C6? Anyone else? Anyone else? Seeing none, close the hearing. Lady from the 12th.
In the committee meeting, I voted against this because my concern was the exit of people if there was a fire. And while I understand that the alder from the 8th district has shown me pictures where they have 2 exits, but then they also have a lift there, and then, but that still doesn't ease my concern, because if there's a fire and I'm not even sure what the occupancy is, but then if there's people in there that need to get out and they're using the lift, that brings even more concern. So my vote will still be a no.
Thank you. Lady from the 8th.
Thank you. I had the chance to meet with Ms. Rodriguez last week, who owns the building, which is the former St. Luke's Lutheran Church. She rents out the sanctuary to a congregation, and it's part of their rental agreement that the hall will not be rented while the congregation holds church services and other activities. The rental hall does have multiple exits on opposite ends of the space. It's on the lower level of the old Sunday school space, which I would describe as a split level, not a basement. The space has a wall of windows above ground on both the east and the west side. Ms. Rodriguez has also purchased the parking lot and a house across 30th Avenue and a lot east of the building on 67th Street. The property is well maintained. She's received numerous appreciative comments from her neighbors. And her request for this license all stems from a change in state law. She has come before us many a times attempting to acquire the proper licenses to continue to operate her business. And I'm asking for your support of Ms. Rodriguez and the issuance of this license.
Thank you. Gentleman from the 16th.
Yeah, a couple of things. Went in front of the committee, it was tied 2-2, so that should have been on our sheet tonight as a denial, right? If it's a tie, it should be a denial. It says we approved it. It was a tie, so a tie is a denial. I got a question for Madam Clerk.
Yeah, as was stated at the meeting, it's a no recommendation from the council. Now, the motion was to approve. That motion failed. Right now, it's effectively a no recommendation from the License and Permit Committee.
But yeah, it says license LP approved.
That was the motion that was made. Yes, sir.
I got you. Okay. Madam Clerk, the reserve, can you shine light for the rest of our council about the reserve license, how much it costs, how many are available, so on and so forth?
So we have a total of 39 reserve licenses, which can be issued after we've reached our quota on regular Class B liquor licenses, which we have. and we have currently issued 7, so we have 32 remaining, and the issuance fee is $10,000.
Thank you. Yeah, I voted no, and I'm going to vote no also tonight. It's an old church building. This party venue is certainly not on the first floor. Some people call it the basement, some people call it different things, but I call it the basement. Because it's not on the first floor. There's a church and a school. This is in the basement of the old school part of the establishment. The applicant's willing to spend $10,000. This is a venue situation. It's not a tavern. It's a venue. They have venues, marriage, weddings, so on and so forth held there. But I know she's willing to spend $10,000 for this license. But the situation and the location of it and the layout of it, that's one of the reasons that I'm not for it. So I won't be supporting it tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Gentleman from the first.
Thank you, Your Honor. Based on the comments from the lady from the 12th and also the gentleman at the 16th, I would assume that there's no holds, right? Based on this license, all subject to hold. So do we have, from an emergency egress standpoint, do we have the chief here or his designee? Who can speak to that? I would assume that if it's non-conforming from the standpoint of emergency egress and other code compliance things associated with the activity, then I guess we'd have a story here, but I would think we don't.
Well, the story is that in the lady from the 12th's opinion is that she's not comfortable with the egress. I don't know if I'm stating that correctly, ma'am.
I hope we understand that we have inspection and rules in place for things like emergency egress from everything from our own people to NFPA standards. So I guess I'm curious more than, if there's more to the story than that, I guess I'd be willing to listen. But as long as we're code compliant and conforming for the license activity, I can't see a reason that would be something to consider. Thank you.
Well, the motion on the floor is to approve at this point, sir.
Thank you. I yield the floor.
Gentleman from the second.
Yes, I was one of the 2 votes to vote to approve. I would urge the rest of the council to do the same. I asked that question if the fire department had a look around and they had no issues with her business model. So I'm satisfied that it's not a public safety hazard. And once again, this is it's a business model that we're not that familiar with because previously they weren't required to be licensed through the state. But the change in liquor law says if you're going to host any sort of party, you have to have a liquor license. She feels strongly enough in her business plan to spend that $10,000, and this is a way for her to be legitimate because there's probably some operators out there who haven't been notified. Maybe they're operating out of the light of proper licensure, but we're trying to encourage responsible licensure in this town, and she's making the effort to do so. I'd much rather face this sort of a situation than a scofflaw of some sort. She's patiently been attending meetings for about 2 months. This council and license and permits looking for a way to stay in business. And I congratulate her for that. I know it's a church building, but she owns the building. She rents it out to a church. And if she was to hold a party in violation of her own tenant agreement, well, she's just not going to do that. So I urge the council to support this application. I support the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Seeing no other lights, the motion on the floor is approval of item C6 with the waiver of the 300 feet. Correct, Mr. Chairman? Mr. Chairman? You're right, sir. Thank you, sir. Roll call's been asked for. Roll call, please.
Motion carries 15-2. Item C7, applications of the Coffee Pot LLC located at 4914 7th Avenue with no adverse recommendations from the Police Department. A, new Class B beer, Class C liquor license. B, probationary cabaret license. C, permanent outdoor extension.
Gentleman from the 10th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I make a motion to approve C7, C8 after being read, any necessary applicant hearings.
C8, application of Order What You Want LLC for an outdoor dining area with extension of the Class B beer, Class B liquor license located at 508 58th Street with no adverse recommendations from the Police Department.
Okay, at this time, open up to a hearing. Anyone here speaking item C7 or C8, please come forward, state your name and address. Anyone here speak? Anyone? Yes.
Pablo and Diana Scribano, 2005, 35th Place. Regarding C8, we're just here for any questions.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else on C7 or C8? Anyone else? Anyone else? Seeing none, close the hearing. Motion on the floor is approval of C7 and C8. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
E ordinances, first reading. E1, ordinance by the Committee on Public Safety and Welfare to amend Section 7.125 of the Code of General Ordinances entitled Streets Controlled by Yield. Actually, did we vote on that? Did they vote on C8?
We did them both together.
Okay, thank you. All right, E1, ordinance by the Committee on Public Safety and Welfare to amend Section 7.125 of the Code of General Ordinances entitled Streets Controlled by Yield Signs by rescinding therefrom the yield signs on 54th Avenue at its intersection with 41st Street and to include east and westbound yield signs on 41st Street and 54th Avenue.
Gentleman from the 5th.
Motion to send E1, E2, and E3 on their way after being read.
How about F1?
And F1.
E2, ordinance by the Committee on Public Safety and Welfare to amend Section 7.12C of the Code of General Ordinances entitled Stop Streets to include a southbound stop at the intersection of 25th Avenue and 55th Street. E3, ordinance by the Committee on Public Safety and Welfare to amend Section 7.12C of the Code of General Ordinances entitled Stop Streets by adding east and west stop signs at 40th Street and 32nd Avenue. F, zoning ordinances, first reading. F1, rezoning ordinance by the City Plan Commission to rezone the property at 3719 25th Street from A2 Agricultural Landholding District to RS1 Single Family Residential District.
Okay, motion, bless yous, to send E1 through F1 on their way. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
G, ordinance is second reading. G1, ordinance by the mayor to repeal and recreate subparagraph 1.01 D1E regarding the 5th Aldermanic District for the purpose of adding Ward 102.
Gentleman from the 13th.
Move to concur with the Finance Committee recommendation to approve G1.
Mr. Chairman.
Sorry about that.
Moved and seconded to approve item or concur with Finance Committee recommendation on G1. At this time, open up to a public hearing. Anyone here to speak on item G1, please come forward, state your name and address. Anyone here to speak? Anyone here to speak? Seeing none, close the public hearing. Motion on the floor is concurrence. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Roll call, please.
Motion carries 17-0. H, zoning ordinances, second reading. H1, ordinance by the mayor. Attachment and zoning district classification ordinance under section 66.0307 Wisconsin statutes. City of Kenosha, Town of Somers, State Approved Cooperative Plan 3719 25th Street, Town of Somers.
Gentleman from the 5th.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve item B, H1. At this time, open up to a public hearing. Anyone here speaking on H1, please come forward, state your name and address. Anyone here speak? Anyone here speak? Seeing none, close the public hearing. Motion on the floor is approval. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Motion carries 17-0. I, resolutions. I-1, resolutions by the Committee on Finance to levy special charges. A, trash and debris removal, $4,985.33. B, grass and weed cutting, $3,700.64. C, property maintenance reinspection fees, $13,152. D, building and zoning reinspection fees, $976. Finance recommended to approve 6-0.
Gentleman from 13th.
Move to approve I-1 as recommended by Finance Committee.
Moved and seconded to concur with finance on I-1. At this time, we'll open up to a hearing. Anyone here speaking on I-1, please come forward, state your name and address. Anyone here speak? Seeing none, close the hearing. Motion on the floor is concurrence. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Motion carries 17-0. I-2, resolution by the Committee on Public Works to order the cost of public sidewalk and/or driveway approach construction and/or replacement to be specially assessed to abutting property for Project 26-1043, 73rd Street and 21st Avenue resurfacing. Public Works recommended to approve 6-0.
Lady from the 8th.
Yes, I make a motion to concur with the Public Works Committee to approve I-2.
It's been moved and seconded to concur with Public Works on I-2. At this time, open up to a public hearing. Anyone here speaking on item I-2, please come forward, state your name and address. Anyone here to speak? Seeing none, close the public hearing. Motion on the floor is concurrence. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson Lamakia. Motion carries 17-0. I-3, resolution by the mayor to amend the official map for the city of Kenosha, Wisconsin to include the attachment of 3719 25th Street in the town of Summers, Kenosha County, Wisconsin, in accordance with the approved City of Kenosha Town of Summers Cooperative Plan under Section 66.0307 of the Wisconsin statutes.
Gentleman from the 5th.
Motion to approve, please.
It's been moved and seconded to approve item B or I-3. At this time, open it up to a public hearing. Anyone here speaking on item I-3, please come forward, state your name and address. Anyone here to speak? Seeing none, close the public hearing. Motion on the floor is approval. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Motion carries 17-0. K, public construction and improvement contracts. K1, award of contract for project 26-1043, 73rd Street and 21st Avenue resurfacing to A.W. Oaks and Son, Inc. in the amount of $409,800. Public Works and Stormwater Utility recommended to approve 6-0.
Sorry. Lady from the 8th.
Yes, I make a motion to concur with the Public Works Committee to approve K1.
Moved and seconded to concur with Public Works and K1. Any discussion? Seeing none. Roll call, please.
Motion carries 17-0. L, other contracts and agreements. L1, combination affidavit to combine 6 city-owned parcels located between 6th Avenue and 7th Avenue and 54th Street and 55th Street into one parcel. Finance recommended to approve 6-0.
Gentleman from 13th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to concur with the Finance Committee recommendation to approve L1.
Moved and seconded to approve item L1. Any discussion? Seeing none. Roll call, please.
Motion carries 17-0. L2, construction administrative services agreement by and between the City of Kenosha, Department of Public Works, and Nielsen, Madsen, and Barber for Authentics Black Hawk Ridge. Public Works recommended to approve 6-0.
Lady from the 8th.
Yes, I move to concur with the Public Works Committee to approve items L2 and L3 after being read.
L3, first revision, state municipal financial agreement for Sheridan Road from 75th Street to 61st Street. Public Works recommended to approve 6-0.
Okay, motion on the floor is concurrence of Public Works, L2 and L3. Any discussion? Seeing none. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Faree. Motion carries 17-0. L4, BJAFY 2025 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Program intergovernmental agreement by and between the City of Kenosha, Wisconsin and the County of Kenosha, Wisconsin. Finance recommended to approve 6-0.
Gentleman from the 13th.
Move to concur with the Finance Committee recommendation to approve L4.
Moving second to concur on L4. Any discussion? Seeing none. Roll call, please.
Motion carries 17-0. L5, Professional Services Agreement by and between MSA Professional Services, Inc. and the City of Kenosha for McKinley School Site Development. Public Works and Stormwater Utility recommended to approve 6-0.
Lady from the 8th.
Yes, I move to concur with the Public Works Committee to approve L5.
It's been moved and seconded to approve item L5. Any discussion? Seeing none. Roll call, please.
Motion carries 17-0. M, recommendations from the Committee on Finance. M1, request to rescind 2025 Union Park Oktoberfest invoice. Finance recommended to approve 4-2.
Gentleman from the 13th.
Move to concur with the Finance Committee recommendation to approve M1.
Moved and seconded to concur with finance on M1. At this time, open up to a hearing. Anyone here speaking on M1, please come forward, state your name and address.
Good evening, Ben D. Smith, 6703 7th Avenue, speaking tonight on behalf of MGV Harmonia, the sponsor of the event. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else on item M1? Anyone else? Anyone else? Seeing none, close the hearing. Lady from the 12th.
I voted against this during the committee meeting. I don't have anything against Union Park. I love the fish fries there. But I voted no against it because of the time that it took for this to come back. Because if it was an oversight, I think it should have been done way before now.
I guess if I can help, Alderperson, that's on us, again, from our standpoint, and the process was something we missed until it was brought forward, and then it was just trying to get it scheduled to come back to allow the applicant to have a hearing. But that oversight was on our part. And yeah, I would have liked to have gotten it back here several weeks ago. There's just some other things that were going on. Just didn't get a chance to do that, and wanted to make sure that we gave the applicant an opportunity to have their hearing and be able to move forward. Gentleman from the 17th.
Thank you, Your Honor. I was also a no vote, along with my colleague from the 12th District. My reasoning was as well, it was just too long. And when I dug deep into the file here, I mentioned to the financial committee that I'm a kind of a fiscal conservative. I run my household like that, my businesses like that, and I look at every dollar. And when we see rescind on the petition, I looked at it a little closer. I looked at the application he submitted. It says it's for profit. And when I reached out to the Parks Department, she indicated that actually we mischarged them. It should have been $1,310. And so we actually gave them a discount on the bill. Now, I looked at the letter as well. I talked to Laura Grogowski after the meeting, the finance meeting. So I had some questions. She straightened some of them out. And a lot of it was involved with the sister city. Well, we also have a sister city from Italy. We also had an Italian fest last year that brought in 20,000 people, according to the president of the IA Fest. They are a 501(c)(3). They paid their application fees. They paid their liquor license fees. They paid for all their fencing. The only thing I'm against is just setting a precedent. It listed us as a sponsor. That's why actually, no, it didn't list us as a sponsor. The reasoning is we're waiving this is because we're a sponsor. Well, I looked at the 2025 list. There's 29 sponsored events in Kenosha. That was not listed as one of them. It is on the 2026 list, so we're good for this year. But the problem is from last year. I looked at the website, Kenosha.com, co-hosted Union Park Tavern and MGV Harmonica. Vital support from Visit Kenosha, area businesses, dedicated sponsors. Doesn't list Kenosha City anywhere as a sponsor. This year they've got 22 sponsors listed. And the last thing I have is the city said it's an oversight. I just think there's too many oversights. There's an oversight on Kenosha.com by not listing us as a co-sponsor in 2025. There was incorrect billing, and now 11 months later, we are looking for rescinding on this. So I'm still a no vote. Again, it has nothing to do with Union Park. It's just setting a precedent moving forward. I mean, we're going to have people dig up their archives in the last 3 or 4 years saying, hey, I think we were a sponsor from the city. We should rescind this fee and that fee. And so that's where I'm standing right now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I guess I would say to the council again, anytime, I don't care if it's 6 weeks ago or 6 months ago or 6 years ago, if we identify an error, we fix it. And that's what we're attempting to do here tonight. So again, it's up to the council, but I would, again, it's not on this particular business owner's fault. It's on the city's fault when we're just trying to correct it, but ultimately it's up to the council. Motion on the floor is to concur with finance, which would be to rescind, correct? Okay. Roll call, please.
Motion carries 11-6. M2, request to refund 10 reinspection fees in the total amount of $3,150 for 4509 30th Avenue. Finance recommended to deny 6-0.
Gentleman from 13th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to concur with the Finance Committee recommendations on M2, M3, M4, M5, and N5 after being read.
Second.
M3,
Yep, 1 second. We're just gotta read them off first.
M3, request to refund 1 reinspection fee in the total amount of $72 for 8560 37th Avenue. Finance recommended to approve 6-0. M4, request to rescind 1 reinspection fee in the amount of $72 for 716 51st Street. Finance recommended to approve 6-0. M5, disbursement record number 14, $7,842,410.45. Finance recommended to approve 6-0.
Okay. At this time now, we will open up for a hearing on M2, 3, 4, and 5. If you would like to speak, please come forward, state your name and address on M2, 3, 4, or 5.
Hi, my name is Justina Sontag. I live at 220 Highland Way, Lake Geneva, and I'm the one on M2 regarding the property at 4509 30th Avenue. I was just in the finance meeting that started at like 6:15, and everyone voted to not rescind the fees. I did pay about, give or take, $4,600 of fees. I'm only asking for the $3,150 back. And yes, I did make a mistake and not send the city my forwarding address because I went to New Jersey to take care of my father's estate. When my father died, it was a hard situation in my life that I was dealing with. And I was in New Jersey for a while. My mail was forwarded, but I did not get any of this mail. And yeah, technically, the letter of the law, you pay it all, which I did. And the thing is, these are for inspections that take a minute or two. Because when I found out about the situation when I was selling the property and this was all added on, it was going to be taken out, I saw all the inspection fees. I immediately took care of the situation within 2 days. I called, took care of the situation. It was just a fence, a little area of a fence that was falling over. I went out after I hired someone to take care of it, pulled up to the property. It took me less than 2 minutes to inspect and see that it was taken care of. So that's the amount of time that was spent on this, times 10, which, and I'm not even asking for the other $1,500, which I did pay. Just asking for the $3,150, which it was 2 minutes to inspect this fence because I went and inspected it. And it's just not, financially, it's just, to me, in my budget, it's a crazy amount of money to spend on that. And I get that I should have forwarded it. My mail was forwarded from New Jersey, but I didn't get all of it. I didn't get these notices. The tenant that was there did not get the notices. She died in December, and I was not aware of that. She didn't notify me that she died. And so I did not know this. There was a squatter in the house who was given notices. I found out later, and he didn't forward me these notices. So I'm just, the thing is too, if this was a health hazard, if this was a risk to the community, the situation with the fence that's leaning over, yeah, I'm sure it looked ugly, but it wasn't a safety risk. It wasn't a health hazard. It wasn't a big threat to anybody. And I paid a lot of the fees, and I just really have a need for the funds. I know the, what do you call it, the finance committee, I think it's called, that meeting I went to. I know they recommend, forget it. She didn't do the right thing. She didn't take care of this. But it's not up to them. There are 5 people. It's up to the votes of everyone else here, is what I found out today. And basically, I'm sorry, I didn't take care of it. I didn't know about it. I was up to my ears in siblings and estate issues and all this other stuff with and grieving the loss of my father and dealing with my own health problems, which I'm not going to get into, but just hoping that the other 12 or 13 people are just human, just like me, maybe. So I don't know if anyone asked me questions or if that was already done.
If there are questions from the council, we can call you back up unless there's anything else you'd like to add.
I don't think so.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. Close the hearing. Gentleman from the 5th.
Thank you, Your Honor. I was at the finance meeting, and I thought she has a legitimate case. Due to all the circumstances that were foreseen or not seen or unable to handle, I never disagree. I shouldn't say never disagree. I very rarely disagree with finance, but I think on this one they were wrong, and I want to vote for rescinding. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Gentleman from the 1st.
Thank you, Your Honor. Through the chair to the Director of Inspections, just a quick question. Do we send these notifications out, registered mail, return receipt requested, or something of that nature? Is just regular mail?
No, we send them out Class A mail.
Class A mail. So we have no receipt.
That's
we have
correct.
no way to track. So we don't track these, no tracking information receipt. Okay. And then maybe through the chair of the city attorney, obviously the fees escalate from the first fee, I believe, is $72, and it goes to 90, then 180, then kind of hangs out there at 360. It's my understanding that there's not just reinspection fees that have to bear kind of a reasonable resemblance to the time we spend, but there's a punitive portion of this, right? Is that, if I'm saying the right legal stuff?
I would not agree that there's a punitive portion to this. My understanding is these are charged based on the cost of the city's incurring providing services to the residents.
Okay, I don't believe. From memory, it wasn't explained to me at one point because
we could certainly,
if the fees escalate, and the inspection time is roughly the same, and you're repeating the inspection, then it'd be difficult to explain the 360 versus the 90 and the 180 and the 72. But
we could certainly talk about it off the record afterward.
Okay.
There's a number of legal factors that go.
Well,
go
I'm just
into
trying
this.
to clarify that there is, again, this is just me going from memory, that it's not just the reinspection fee. Certainly the first one should bear a reasonable resemblance, right, to our fees incurred from what one city attorney told me at one time. But I was led to believe that they become somewhat punitive in nature also, and that was a justification. So, but anyway, we can talk about that offline. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Gentleman from the 10th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through the chair to the applicant.
Ma'am, can you come back up to the podium, please?
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with all the lingo of applicant.
Reading your appeal, it says you were gone for 2 years?
Yes.
Did you have property management or someone taking care of the property while you were gone for that 2-year period?
No, I did not. Usually the tenant would call me if there was any issue or text me.
Okay.
Usually she would call me.
You stated that the tenant died in December?
She did. She died in December, and I was not aware of this.
Was rent stopped being paid in December?
No, it was paid for December and January. So I
Then
think
you learned in March or April that the person had passed away and no rent was paid for March or April?
Correct.
And you did not evict the person for non-payment of rent?
She was dead, so I couldn't evict her.
The tenant's son?
The tenant's son, no, I did not.
Okay.
I just begged him to leave.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Gentleman from 13th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let's step back a minute. First of all, this situation began when the city received a complaint about a code violation at this location. And the city inspections sent out a code official to take a look at what the complaint was about, determined it was a code violation, and started the process. And then, a letter was sent to her address of record, and a notice was put on the door or handed to the tenant. And then following that, the inspection department went back out to determine whether or not work had begun or was completed on the code violation. It was not. So then a reinspection fee was applied. 11 reinspections took place at this location. More than once, the city inspector made contact with the tenant, requested information on how to contact the property owner. Phone call or whatever was unsuccessful in getting that done. The problem really is here that the property owner failed to change her address with the city of Kenosha. Not only was she gone for 2 years, but failed to change the address, her own address for that property. So the city could, they sent the letter out as they're supposed to do. The city did its job. I'm sorry to say the homeowner did not. I'm not about to sit here and vote to change the processes and the procedures of our city inspections and codes and all that. I would urge my colleagues to vote to deny. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, see no lights. Motion on the floor is concurrence on finance on M2, 3, 4, and 5. Roll call, please.
Motion passes 16-0. And recommendations from the Committee on Public Works. And 1, acceptance of project.
Sorry, 1 second. Sir?
My apologies, 16-1. Thank you. And recommendations from the Committee on Public Works. N1, acceptance of project 251044 20th Avenue resurfacing, which has been satisfactorily completed by Lalonde Contractors Incorporated. The final amount of the contract is $411,140.21.
Lady from the 8th.
Yes, I make a motion to concur with the Public Works Committee on N1.
Moved and seconded to concur on item N1. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Motion passes 17-0. N2, acceptance of project 25-1435 Horizon Park Playground, which has been satisfactorily completed by Stuckey Construction Company. The final amount of the contract is $419,885.65. Recommendation pending approval 6-0.
Gentleman from the 1st.
Move to concur with the recommendation to approve from the Parks Commission. Oh, that way. Thought I hit it. I hit the wrong spot.
Moved and seconded to concur with Parks Commission on N2. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Motion passes 17-0. N3, project 26-1041 35th Avenue resurfacing change order number 1. Finance and Public Works Committee recommendation approval 6-0.
Gentleman from the 13th.
Move to concur with the Finance Committee recommendation to approve N3.
Moved and seconded to concur on item N3. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye, or roll call, please, excuse me.
Motion carries 17-0. P, and such matters as are authorized by law or regular business. P1, agreement to hire an expert witness with regard to pending litigation with Associated Wholesale Grocers, Inc., 25-CV-517. Finance recommended to approve 6-0.
Gentleman from 13th.
Move to concur with the Finance Committee recommendation to approve P1.
Second.
Moved and seconded to concur with Finance and P1. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Motion carries 17-0. P2, potential settlement authority for the City of Kenosha's attorneys and Jane Doe versus Joshua Sylvester and the City of Kenosha. Case number 2, 25-CB-01243. Finance recommended to concur with the recommendation of legal counsel 6-0.
Gentleman from the 13th.
Move to concur with the Finance Committee recommendation on P2.
Second.
been moved and seconded to concur with the Finance Committee recommendation. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please. Bless you.
Alderperson Seal. Motion carries 17-0.
Okay, alderperson's comments. Gentleman from the 10th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to first give a shout out to the K-Town Connect crew, Jason Hedman and Donnie Sancato. They celebrated their 200th podcast. I had the honor of being their 37th guest. I didn't think they would make it to 50, and I was pleasantly surprised. But the reality is, if you listen to these interviews with people in our community, you really learn something about them. You know a little bit about their business. You might know a little bit about what they serve, but it really gives you an insight into why people invest their time and energy into this community. And I think it is a really special thing. And again, I congratulate them on their 200th podcast. I don't think they're going to make it to 300, but who knows? On a separate note, it takes a village to raise a child, and sometimes it takes an entire community to put on a jazz fest. We were supposed to have the 2026 Harbor Park Jazz Rhythm and Blues Festival at Celebration Place on Saturday. Due to what we thought was going to be bad weather, a decision was made to bring it indoors, and that decision caused quite a few people to have to pivot and put some resources in to make sure that this concert went off, which, by the way, benefits college students in our community. It's for scholarships. So I just want to thank everyone that was involved. It took so many people to put that concert on, to put the fundraiser together. People from the city, people from KUSD, all our volunteers, and also those who attended the event. It didn't rain. After all that, it didn't rain. But I really want to extend a thank you, a hearty thank you to everyone who, within a matter of 24 hours, was ready to pivot and make this concert happen, which again provides scholarships to students in our community. So thank you one more time.
Thank you, sir. Gentleman from the 3rd.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm going to try to word this very carefully. I've been getting emails and then complaints at citizens' comments. People seem to be indignant that they are limited to 3 minutes when, of course, there are more than 11 people wishing to speak. The thing is, this is not something we've just decided to do. This is something we are required to do. And, I'm not going to talk about disruptive people or anything like that, but I am going to say that they should also bear in mind that a lot of people who are on the published agenda have business, have their livelihoods really involved with our vote on the published agenda. They have to wade through all this. And then they have to get, their turn for a public hearing. So we're not ignoring you. We are required to provide you your 3 minutes, and we're not ignoring you, and I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, sir. Motion to adjourn on your laptop will be in order. Want to try that again? Moved and second to adjourn. All in favor say aye. We stand adjourned. Thank you, everybody.